Hello everyone, I am Brian Hartman from the Stokes County Cooperative Extension Office, and I'm the Agriculture and Natural Resource Agent. Normally you'd be finding me helping a farmer, a small producer, a home gardener, or identifying some pesticides or some insects. Well, today's a little different. I'm coming to you live from the digital world, and we're going to talk about gardening. Let's go ahead and get started. When we think about gardening, you may go back to your grandparents' garden, or maybe your very own garden. Maybe you just grew flowers, or maybe you grew food. Well, today we're focused on vegetable gardening. So you have to think about finding the right place. Where do I plant it? What do I grow? What do I even do? So we have site selection. It has to have sun. All vegetables need at least 6 to 8 hours of sun a day, especially in the winter. But coming on spring, we don't have to worry about that. They need light afternoon shade, may be beneficial to summer crops, and leafy greens may need more shade to tolerate. Near a water source, think about it. Do I want to drag a water hose or a watering can? It's mainly for convenience to maintain the harvest. A little more. Is it relatively level or along a contour or a slope? Is it south-facing slope? Will be warmer earlier in the spring. All vegetables need a well-drained soil. Avoid low-lying areas that are heavy, wet soils, and where water ponds. Think about it when it rains. Where does the water stand at? An alternative can be a raised beds or mounded rows. Here's on the picture on the right, you can see somebody's come up with a creative idea of using the terrain and contouring their beds to the slope, making use of what they have to be beneficial to them. Now the favorite, growing vegetables. It all depends on what works for you. You can have containers if you have a small place, maybe a front deck or balcony. If you have a little bit bigger areas, you can do raised beds, which are nice for the height there are, or you can do the traditional in-ground garden, going back to what my grandparents did, and I still do today. Starting with containers. It's great if you have limited space or limited sun. We water frequently, daily in the summer. Now, one important thing to think about, they all require drainage holes. And we can place this several on the bottom. And you can also drill this in the side. To think about when you buy a container, is there enough holes in the bottom where excess water can drain out? And think about recycling, reusing containers, or reusing household items. If you're stuck at home now, you could turn a tea jug, a milk jug, and start growing your own food at home. Now what to put in our containers. For best results, use a purchased potting soil. This most times includes a mixture of peat, perlite, vermiculite, and bark. Also, we want to incorporate a slow-release fertilizer or incorporate worm castings. And a slow-release fertilizer can be organic or synthetic, whichever one's your choice. Now going to raised beds. Here's some of the benefits. They can improve drainage. The soil warms quicker. They're easier to maintain, efficient and productive. They improve accessibility, and attractive and a better fit for smaller landscapes. Think about if you have young children, their beds are all raised up to their height, or if you have elderly family, they work great. Now raised beds. To think about, there's a lot of options when purchasing materials. We can use treated or untreated boards. We can also purchase recycled plastic materials that won't decompose. They're less maintenance if not surrounded by grass. And we can also mulch pads in between beds. Here's an example one that's actually made of corrugated sheet metal. That looks pretty interesting to me. Then we have a lot of other options. They can be made of bricks, cinder blocks, fancy bricks. So there's a lot of alternative. Maybe you have a few extra ones laying around the house that you can use. Now here's my favorite part. Be creative. Add vertical supports for vines. This picture right here has an example of bamboo sticks. Keep in mind moving around the beds and reaching into the beds. How can I get around them, and how far do I have to reach to pick my fresh produce? Now, in-ground gardening. There's no construction materials. It keeps the space flexible. You need a large area. We also want to mound beds in heavily clay soils or poor drained soils. As you can see in the picture on the right, the beds are mounded slightly. Now we have two types of systems, a single row or a wide row. Wide rows are the top left-hand picture, and single rows are on the bottom right. So wide rows, multiple plants within one row. Single row, one individual plant per row. And then if you're wondering when to plant, for our warm season crops, plant after the average last spring frost date. For us, typically it's April the 15th. Now this can be changing depending on your climate or your location, so make sure you check your local weather station and see when the last upcoming frost may be or what the predicted weather climates are. Thank you for joining me today. I hope I was able to help you learn a few things about gardening, and if you have any questions, you can visit the Stokes County Cooperative Extension website or reach out to your local cooperative extension. We're located in all 100 counties and even the Cherokee Reservation. Our information is provided by NC State University and NCA&T